This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Hello and welcome to Canada Reads American Style. We're back for another episode of our monthly book chat. I'm Tara. I'm here with Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I know we always start with the weather. I know
we
some
do.
people hate that, but I figure if any old men are listening, they will love it. So
Yes.
I'm thinking of my dad. So anyway, it's kind of gloomy today. So
Here too. It's supposed to be the first day of spring, right? And it's super gloomy. It's rainy, and we're supposed to get some freezing rain.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I don't like these kind of days.
Come
Whatever.
on, spring. Come on,
Yeah.
spring.
They're good days for staying inside, talking about books and reading books. So there we
you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had a very fun bookish adventure earlier this week. I went to see the author and classicist Natalie Haynes from the UK. She writes Greek myth retellings.
Yeah.
So she came to our library. I think from following her Instagram after that, she's made a big swoop of visiting a lot of places in Ontario, bookstores and libraries and stuff. So anyways, I was super excited to have the opportunity to see her. I don't know if she's still kind of going through this area, but if she goes through anyone's area and you have the chance to see her, go see her. She is super informative and also highly entertaining and funny because she's also a comedian as well. She's very very impressive. Had a great time. I learned all this. So her new book is called No Friend to This House, I believe. It's a retelling of Medea and Jason myth, the Medea and Jason myth. So I learned all about that. I learned all about Euripides because apparently that's her favorite play. And she's funny as heck. And I got to hear her use the word wanker in person.
Nice.
And that
Excellent.
made me so happy because I've only seen it on TV and movies. So to hear a British person refer to themselves as a wanker, I'm like, oh my God, yes, it was worth it just for that moment. She is flipping delightful. And I bought 2 of her books, of course. I can't wait to read them.
Okay, I have to agree. If I got to hear a British person say wanker in real life, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I think that word is hilarious. I love that
word. Me too. So that was my highlight of the week, I gotta say.
Yeah.
How was your week, aside from the weather?
I don't know. It's been really busy. I will say this. I've been going out and seeing lots of friends and everything, getting out and about.
Nice.
And just freaking waiting for spring. And I'm and I love winter and all that, but I'm kind of over it now. Let's move on. Let's see some green grass and sunshine. Sunshine is what I really want to see more than anything. Because Michigan is it's like the second cloudiest state in the country.
Really?
Behind Washington State, yeah.
Huh. I would not have thought that.
It was like that when I was younger. Who knows, with climate change, it could be different, but it used to be back in the day. Yep. We were second to Washington State. Mm-hmm.
Really? Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
So I'm ready for some sun.
You are. Well, my fingers are crossed because I am ready as well. So let's go spring. Okay. Let's jump into what we are currently reading. Shall I go first?
Yes.
Okay. This rarely happens, but I'm bringing 3 books. So fiction, nonfiction, and a short story collection, all 3 of which I've started in the last, let's say, 18 hours. So I haven't gotten very far into them. It just I actually love this. It matters to no one, but I love it when I kind of finish all my books at the same time and then start like a new round. It's super fun for me. My current nonfiction, which I thought you had read this book, but you didn't show up on Storygraph. So maybe I'm thinking of a different art book. But it is The Art Thief by Michael Finkel. Have you? No? Okay.
I have not, no.
I think you might like this one. It is, obviously, it's a nonfiction and is about this man. What is his name? I'm probably not going to. It doesn't matter. I guess it does. I mean, it's his name. I guess he does matter.
Let me just jump in and tell you this. I went to a program at the Flint Institute of Art, and that was the book they talked about. And so I learned a lot about the book, and I may have mentioned it that way.
Maybe that's why. Yes. Mm-hmm. So 2 people, Stefan Breitweiser and his girlfriend, Anne Catherine Kleinklaus. I probably did not say those very well, but I did not practice beforehand. Between the two of them, they stole $2 billion worth of art pieces. And this is their story. I'm only like 30 pages in, and it is fascinating because they did not sell, from what I understand, one piece of it. They just kept it in 2 rooms, surrounding themselves with all the pieces of art that they stole.
Yeah.
It's the first chapter was specific to one particular statue, and obviously he has spoken to the author, the Stefan, and it's him going through the steps of what he did to steal this one statue. It's fascinating. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
I can't wait to hear about because I do want to read it, so I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear what your impression is by the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already at the point I kind of want to Google and find out what happens, but I'm like, no, Tara, stop. And you have the book in front of you. Why would you now Google it? But you know, I'm like so excited to find out what happens.
Yeah.
So that's that. The short story collection is an old one from 2007 called Bang Crunch by Canadian author Neil Smith. I think he has a new book out recently that came out recently. I'm not quite sure, but I was introduced to him through Eden Mills. So like almost 20 years ago, saw him speak about this book collection. I bought it because I was like, it sounded fascinating. And then, or short story collection. And of course I've not read it until now. I've read one story. I loved it. I'm like really excited to get into this collection. It kind of is one of those stories that hits you somewhere, like hits you in the heart, and then also makes you laugh. And so I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to jumping into this a little more. And my fiction is Villain Hitting for Vicious Little Nobodies by Lindsay Wong. I recently read her short story collection, which I'm drawing a blank as to the name of it right now. This is a horror book. I'm only a few pages into this. I loved her short story collection. This is about a young woman who, because of the circumstances, the financial circumstances that her family finds themselves into, she agrees to become a corpse bride, which is essentially in this world, when a family has a young family member who dies unmarried, who finds so their lives are unrealized, they can hire people to become their spouse in corpses. So it's through a company. So this is like a horror book. It's not, the name of the company is Joyful Coffin and Company. So it's not legal, but you can agree to sign up, and they train you how to become a corpse so that you will eventually then, through a ceremony, become married to a corpse. And that's, I think, becoming a corpse yourself. But so she's doing this for the financial rewards for her family. I'm only slightly into it, but I love it because I love Lindsay's writing. So I'm enjoying it already, and I can't wait to find out what the heck happens.
She is quite an eclectic writer.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
You read her short story collection.
Yes.
And did that have horror elements in it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it did. Oh, yes. Okay. So maybe she's kind of a horror writer, but that had written that memoir.
Yeah. I have not read her memoir.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be reading that this year as well. So I'm going to become a little Lindsay Wong completist this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think, and we had talked about her memoir before, I think on another podcast a little bit. We talked about it, I think. So, yeah.
So what?
Okay. Well, those are 3 really good ones. I'm reading 2 kind of quirky ones, maybe. Okay. Perhaps. I don't know.
I love quirky.
Maybe quirky is not the right word. So I'm reading this, which I'm just showing you the cover and then I will explain it. It is called Director's Choice, Flint Institute of Arts by Tracee J. Glab, who is the director of the Flint Institute of Arts here in Michigan. It is the 2nd largest art museum in the state of Michigan. We have the 2nd largest, behind Detroit Institute of Art, which, by the way, has won Best Art Institute or Art Museum in the United States many times because it is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal collection. But anyway, so what this is, Tracee has written about different items in the collection and why they are her favorite in the collection. And I think it said something about in Flint, I think the holdings are about 9,700 items in the Flint collection. And I recognize a lot of these, most of these I recognize, and I just like reading a little bit about them. And the reason I bring this book up, because no one, I'm pretty confident, no one who's listening to this podcast today will ever read this book. But what I want to suggest is that if you go to your local library, there might be a book similar to it. I have one for the Chicago Art Institute. I have that one, which is a huge fat book, which explains a lot of their works as well. So I just want to say, if you are wanting to get into art, or you go to your art museum or any art museum, there may be books like that. And they're just really fun to read, that little extra thing about the art, the context of it, the historical context, perhaps more detail about it. And I just think it's really, like I said, I'm really getting into art. And so this is something that's really helping me, and I love it. So it's only 80 pages, but I just love learning as much as I can about things. It's kind of like going down a rabbit hole, but in a book form instead of online. So now the other thing I'm doing is we've talked about Marcello di Cintio, whose nonfiction I love, and I'm reading his backlist. So I'm on, this is the second to the last one, actually. So it's Poets and Pahlevans, and that is Poets and Wrestlers.
Oh.
And the full subtitle is A Journey into the Heart of Iran. And I did not realize when I picked this book up necessarily that it was about Iran, but I thought the timing of it's kind of interesting. It was written, I think maybe, let's see, when was it published? In 2006. So it's older. It's 20 years old now. But I think he's amazing because this is a guy who will go to the most challenging places on the planet and talk to people, and he gets invited everywhere he goes. As soon as they know he's a Canadian, and obviously he's a foreigner because he doesn't speak the language, people will invite him into their homes. They take him places or whatever. And the reason he's combined these two things, first of all, he was a wrestler growing up, and I think in college he was a wrestler as well, and he also was like a literature major. And so he has this love of poetry. And it turns out that back in the day in Persia, there was this huge connection between wrestling and poetry. It is the most fascinating thing ever. I know, isn't that kind of strange?
Yeah.
And so, and so these men who were like warrior kind of, wrestlers, and there was this whole culture around it. The two were so intertwined, poetry and wrestling. It's just fascinating. So I'm about 50, 60 pages in. And again, it's one of those things, as soon as I start reading it, I just can't put it down. It's just really enjoying it. So he is, I don't know, the subjects he picks are things that you would never know in the world are going on. But then he writes a book and you're fascinated by it. So.
And if you had asked me, what's the word? Pahlevans?
Pahlevans.
Pahlevans. If you had said poetry and Pahlevans, what do you think that I never would have guessed wrestling? Never.
No, that's why when I got the book, I just ordered the book through my library. And then when I got it and then I saw it was about wrestling, I went, oh, okay. I had no idea. And I'm obviously not a big wrestling fan. I don't know, much about it or anything, but in the context of this, and when he gets there, and this was 20 years ago, obviously it's a dying art form in Iran. And so he's having to really go out and find these old men who really did this style. But he talks about
style of poetry or wrestling or both?
Both, because I think the poetry doesn't, this style that was connected to the wrestling world, really, I think that poetry is also very unique, and that may not be something that's as prevalent today. That part of that kind of poetry, maybe with the wrestling, I don't know yet because I'm only, about 60 pages in.
Yeah.
But I will be going down a rabbit hole. The only thing I've been doing, because I'm trying to stay focused here, I've been looking on the map. So I look at the map because every time he goes from one city to another, I just kind of want to know visually, like, where is he going? And so that's been really interesting. But I'll tell you what, he's really amazing. And the other thing, when I had interviewed him the last time over his new book, Precarious, he said he has a lot of journal or magazine articles that'll be coming out. So I want to go back and start to look at some of his past magazine articles as well. I just think the guy always has some interesting take on the world.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this whole thing.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's amazing. So those are the two things I'm currently reading anyway. So.
And I was going to say, and don't stop yourself from going down a rabbit hole, because we now, if you've listened, we have our new monthly episode that we're doing called Literary Rabbit Holes. So we want you to go down those rabbit holes, Rebecca.
That is true.
That you have, something to talk about.
Yeah, so absolutely.
No, don't stop yourself.
That is never going to be a worry, because I go down rabbit holes just 99% of the time. I'm going down rabbit holes when I'm reading. So yeah, it's probably not going to be an issue.
Okay, let's move on then to, I can't remember what we call this, like our notable reads, some of our more interesting reads in the past month.
Yeah.
We start.
So I'm going to go and give you the two books that I want to recommend. And I only have two this month, because this month was this past, since the last one we did, has been a little bit odd for me. I've read a bunch of children's books and like them, but I've also DNF'd some stuff, and I've skim read some stuff. So I don't really want to even talk about the stuff I DNF'd or skim read, because I don't really want to waste the airtime with it, to be honest with you. So I'm bringing two phenomenal books. Okay. How's that?
Yeah.
And if you're interested, you can always send me a message, and I'll be happy to tell you what I haven't done. So, and I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you tell me afterwards too.
100%. Yeah. And mostly it's because I think especially for me, when I DNF, it's like I'm just not in the mood for that book right now and everything. But chances are, because I probably never read it, to be honest. And then, and I also don't want to bash authors, because they, you know what?
Yeah.
It's my thing about not being able to read it right now. Or if I didn't care for it because I looked at reviews and the reviews are not good, I don't want to bash anybody. So
before you continue, I'm going to little sidetrack here. Will you, if you DNF a book, do you find that you will sometimes revisit it? No. I know there's like this term I've heard thrown around, like instead of DNF, people will call it like a not right now book, so that they might go back to it. I'm not. I'm like, if I decide to, I'm like, the book's dead to me. I'm done. I'm moving on.
What I have found too, that there have been books I've wanted to DNF, and then I forced myself to keep going, and then I ended up loving the book. And then that's why when I DNF something, I feel bad. It takes me a while to finally admit I'm going to DNF something, because I feel like I'm sure I'm going to like this book. And then, but what it does is I stop reading. Like I won't even pick up that book, and then days will go by and I haven't touched a book. And that's when I went, you got to stop doing that, because now you're just like, just let it go. And the one I'm DNFing is a great book, brilliant book, but I just don't want to read it. So, okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Continue.
And I just can't remember the title. Otherwise I would tell you what it is, but I can't remember the title. Okay. So here's what I want to talk about. And I'm going to bring it up. I did talk about it on our recent new podcast where we talk about rabbit holes, is a book by Marcello di Cintio. Don't worry, everybody. I got one more to go after that one, and then I'll move on to another author. But anyway, it's Walls, Travels Along the Barricades. And I'm not going to go into a great detail about it, other than to say, if you are somebody who likes geography, if you like, I would say cultural geography, political history, that kind of stuff, but not to the level where you're going to fall asleep at night when you're reading it. This is really, really a wonderful book. It talks about a number of places where there are walls, barricades, fences of some manner between countries, between peoples, that I didn't even know some of these. And I'm just going to mention them again, as I did in the other podcast. But the first one you read about is Morocco and Western Sahara. And I didn't know Western Sahara was not a formal country. I didn't know that until I read this book. And the book was written, I think it was like 13 years ago, but I was doing rabbit holes, a million of them, because I wanted to know, is everything the same as it was 13 years ago when he wrote the book? And for the most part, it's all 100% the same, sadly, 13 years later. Then there was these two little enclaves at the northern tip of Morocco in two places that I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to try. I had no idea. Those are Spanish enclaves. So if you live in those places, you are a Spanish resident. Even though you're in Morocco, you have Spanish citizenship. So go figure. And a lot of people try to get into those enclaves. They try to scale those fences to get in there so that they can become eventually get to Spain and become a citizen in Spain. So that's why there are walls there. Obviously, India and Bangladesh, that one was really fascinating. And again, he's out there traveling, talking to people, and going places that I think take a lot of courage. And that's the other thing that blows my mind, because some of these places are, they're kind of scary. And there are guys with, soldiers with guns and things, you know what I mean? And he's out there doing it. Then the next one is Israel, Palestine, which is probably one of the most famous ones in the world right now. Cyprus, which was really fascinating to me because apparently in the island of Cyprus, the north part has money, the south does not. And so people from the south will go to the north, they'll cross that border, and then people from the north generally don't go to the south because there's really nothing there for them, I guess. So I don't know. But anyway, so that's really fascinating. And I might have gotten that mixed up, which is wealthy and which is not. I don't remember. But that was fascinating because he did cross that border. That was one of the borders he was able to cross because it's open. And if you look it up online, you can see the actual fence and how you go through and everything. That was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Next one is U.S. and Mexico. We know that one's another famous one. Belfast, Northern Ireland, which I won't talk about other than to say, go listen to the other podcast about rabbit holes, and I'll explain a little bit more there about the whole issue in Belfast. And then in Montreal, there's this little kind of, I think it's a chain link fence. I think I did look it up, but a lot of stuff has grown up around it. But that one was really fascinating as well. It was to divide sort of the haves and the have-nots. And it was, I think, initially the Irish that were on one side and then the wealthier people in Montreal on the other side. And now over time, it has become more like people from all over the world who have now settled, because it's kind of like an area where people settle that don't have a lot. And then as they start to move up in the world, they may move out into other locations. So it's still, I think, kind of a lower income, higher income divide. So highly recommended if you're interested in those kind of things. Like I said, it's the history, the politics, the history, the physical spaces and what it looks like, because he's there and he's going through all of these. And I just thought it was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now my second one and last one is a book that I did not know was out. And then I was alerted to it. And there you go. This is Lost, Amelia Earhart's 3 Mysterious Deaths and 1 Extraordinary Life by Rachel Hartigan. It came out, I think, March 3rd, I think. As soon as I heard about it, I ran up to my Barnes & Noble and got a copy and read it in 2 days. Absolutely loved it. As if you've listened to the podcast at all, you know I'm a big, huge fan of Amelia Earhart. But the thing about when I decided to read this book, I've never been a person who really thought that much about how she disappeared. Like, I'm not into the conspiracies and all that stuff. I don't really care. I just figured they ran out of, fuel and then they crashed into the ocean. Well, yeah, that's one of the theories. So what Rachel Hartigan has done is it's really brilliantly done. Every other chapter is a biography chapter about Amelia's life. So you start out when she's born, and then you go through until she, leaves this earth. And then every other chapter is one of the 3 primary theories of how she disappeared. And she does a deep dive into looking at those theories. And do they still hold up? Is there all the information that's come out since? Can it debunk some of these theories? And she does a phenomenal, brilliant job of doing it. So the 3 theories are basically, she was captured by the Japanese. Did they land on an uninhabited island where they literally took dogs, sniffer dogs, to see if they could, because they can still smell bones apparently after like decades and stuff. And so they actually do find some bones, by the way. And also the last one is where they simply ran out of fuel and crashed. But I have to say that each of those theories were so fascinating because I didn't really know them. I kind of knew about them, but I didn't know all the details, because a lot of books have been published about her and her disappearance, and people swore by their theories, like they had it all down, and people would go and pay millions of dollars over time to try to research these and find the plane and find the bones, whatever. So that was absolutely fascinating. And the one thing I will say as I finished it, which was really interesting, is she does mention, because she does talk to Amelia's sister Muriel before, and I think she has passed since, I think. But she said she and the family never got invested in what happened to Amelia because it was too painful. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. She was their beloved family member. And every time somebody came up with more ideas and they researched and they spent all this money to try to find her, she said, what for? What was the purpose of them? Why do they need to find her? And they were just so traumatized, re-traumatized by everything that kept coming out in the world about this. And I'll be honest with you, that made me think of Savannah Guthrie and her mother, who is
Oh,
missing.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
this, the TV person whose mother has gone missing in
Yeah.
Arizona, and how much everybody online, the conspiracy theories about all of that have just been massive. And I really, in the context of when I was reading that book, that was really when they were talking about Savannah in a big way and her family. And I just thought how tragic and painful it is for the family. Like I had never
Mhm.
thought of it from that perspective.
Mhm.
And that was just really kind of fascinating. And I thought if Amelia had died this like in 2026, Jesus, the
Oh,
conspiracy theories would just be going on for the next 5,000 years. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Everybody would be online on TikTok saying that they know what happened. Da, 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 da. And so the only saving grace is back then there wasn't social media. And so
Yeah.
she was spared that perhaps. But anyway, if you love, and I sort of say, if you like a page turning, mystery solving in quotes, historical account of one of the world's most amazing women, pick up this book. If you know anyone who loves nonfiction, creative nonfiction, have them get this book because it was just, and I will comfortably say, there's no way anything will beat it for my best book of 26. And it's
Wow.
only March.
It's only
Nothing,
March.
nothing can beat it. Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. You are really embracing your nonfiction reading this year
Lately,
so
yeah,
far.
yeah.
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 Well, I'd like to not be, DNFing books, but, I'm just I don't know why. I'm not like you where you pick good books and you pick so many good books, and I'm
Mhm.
sitting here, like, floundering a little bit, so, yeah.
Oh, well, I am quick to DNF as well.
Mhm.
Like, I don't give a book a lot of I might set a limit of 50 pages, like, I might be like, "Ooh, I'll give it, like, 50 pages." Sometimes I'll know within 10 pages, and I'm like, "Done."
Oh, that's interesting. So have
Yeah.
you DNF'd much this year yet at all?
I don't think so, but let me quickly,
'Cause I
because 'cause
don't
we're
remember
only
any.
in March, so I don't
Yeah.
feel like I've DNF'd a lot this year. I've been pretty good so far. I know what I like too.
Yeah.
And you know what? Where I read across a lot of different genres
Yeah.
also helps, I think, with not having a lot of DNFs. I
Mhm.
can't see how to find it on my story
I
graph
don't
at the
think I
moment, but
kinda
I
feel
don't
like
think
maybe you
so.
haven't because I think you would have mentioned it because I planned on
Yeah.
telling you about the ones I DNF'd, so,
Yeah. I don't
yeah.
think I've DNF'd a lot this year at all so far.
Okay, now
Yay.
the rest of the show is yours. Go for it.
Yes, because I unlike Rebecca, I've had a really good reading month
Mm.
since we last chatted about this. So I had almost too many books to balance our back and forth. So we kind of just thought we'd wing it a little differently. So I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a big chunk and I will do my best to keep it, like not too crazy. I'm going to start off by linking two of my books. So that'll give us two birds, one stone.
Okay.
Um, the first being a short story collection, The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. And I'm going to link that with a nonfiction called Why I Love Horror, edited by American librarian Becky Siegel Stratford. I'm not going to say much about the Shirley Jackson book because it's Shirley Jackson. We all know Shirley Jackson. They're amazing. I flipping loved this book. I will say that while I was reading it, so my oldest Keegan saw me reading it and she was like, "Oh, have you read this story yet?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not there yet." She's like, "Let me know when you get to it because I want to talk about it." So, of course, the next time I was reading, I flipped ahead to it. And Keegan had said, "You're going to think nothing has happened in that book, but then if you reread it, you'll see something else." And
Ooh.
I'm like, "Ooh." So I read the short story. Most of them are like only a few pages. I read it. Oh, I wish I could tell you the name of it, and I don't have the book here with me. And I was like, not much happened in that story. Like, I don't know what Keegan's talking about. Then I reread it, and one word stuck out to me, and it
Oh,
changed the whole story.
yeah.
Then I went to Keegan and we talked about it, and she had a whole different take on it. Like, she was like, well, but this. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And then I was like, but my take is this. And she was like, oh, interesting.
Okay, so I want you to tell us what
Yeah.
the title of the short story when you know it, and I'll
Yeah.
put it in the show notes.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going to, and I don't think I have it. Oh, sorry. I do have it beside me. Sorry. My
Oh,
desk is a huge mess. I will recognize it when I see. Oh, it's called A Fine Old Firm. FIRM.
okay,
Yeah.
great.
Anyways, the whole collection was amazing. My big thing is I was very excited to reread The Lottery, which was the last story in the collection, which I had read when I was a child. And I'm sorry, still terrifying. I remembered it very clearly. Like, it's like, yep, that's what I remembered. Still impactful, still terrifying. So
Yeah,
kudos, Shirley Jackson.
awesome.
Yeah. Now, the second, the nonfiction, why I love horror. I was interested in this one because, as we know, I've been reading a lot more horror in the last year or so, year and a half. I've always read horror, but not to the extent that I've been reading it lately. And in my head, I'm like, why do I want to read it? Why do I love it? Because, I'm a pacifist, I'm squeamish. Like, why the hell do I want to read about this? So this book came along, and I'm like, I must read that book. And so Becky Siegel, Stratford, American librarian who is very much into horror and helping readers find the right books for themselves. She gathered together, she reached out to a whole bunch of American horror authors, and actually one Canadian. I shouldn't say all American because I think there's also a Nigerian writer in here. So, like, oh, Stephen Graham Jones, of course. Victor Laval, Grady Hendrix, Paul Tremblay, Haley Piper, a whole bunch, and asked them specifically to write an essay about why they love horror and why they write horror, essentially. They each all had different answers. Some were very like what you would expect. Other ones went into more their childhood trauma and living with current events as trauma. Very interesting. It also helped me understand why I love the genre. It also, though, helped me, gave me insight into why I like reading any book, because I was like, that's
Mm,
just a very interesting question about why you love any book. So I'm now reading, being more conscious of why I'm enjoying the book that I'm enjoying.
mm-hmm.
So I took away a whole bunch from
Love
that book.
that. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, okay, let's say book number 3 is another nonfiction, a memoir, and it is A Truce That Is Not Peace by Miriam Toews. So I think this was published a couple of years ago. I've read one or two books by Toews, so I wanted to read this one. I was not expecting the subject matter that is covered in this book. I thought it was a book about writing, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
So she had been, I think, like the impetus for the book was she had been asked to attend a conference about why you write. Like, why do you write? That question was thrown at her, and she kept writing essays to try and answer it. And the organizers would be like, that's not what we're looking for. Keep trying. So I know, which would be a very like daunting
Screw
thing. I'm
you.
like, and rude. Like, how do you tell a writer, like, not good enough, keep trying?
Yeah.
I guess there are people who are paid to do that. So, but that question, trying to answer that question, has led her down looking into her family and why she writes. And there is a lot of suicide in her family. So there is a lot of suicide in this book. So I'm
Mm,
just like, trigger warnings if you're someone who doesn't want to read about this, because normally it wouldn't be a trigger warning for me, but I found like I was overwhelmed by it at
wow.
times. I was compelled by her writing to continue reading it because I really enjoyed and continue to enjoy how she writes. But it was at times a lot. Thank goodness it's a short book, so I wasn't like in it for a long period of time. She's also pretty funny too. I gotta say, she's very funny. So it's dark humor, but it was pretty funny. I will leave you with my favorite line from the book, and it is, "That is a calming sitz bath of a sentence." Like sits as in
Yeah.
SITZ. And I was like, that's good. That's a good sentence. So again, trigger warnings. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it's a book for everyone. Like it was a interesting reading experience for me because I don't even know if I enjoyed it. It's more that I appreciated her writing. I
Yeah.
didn't really enjoy the book.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. That's why I brought it because I was like, oh, do I bring it or not? And I'm like, I'm going to bring it because I still rated it. I think I gave it like 4 stars.
Mhm.
So it was still like a worthwhile reading experience, but it was heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Book number 4 is a book of flash fiction. And it is the new book by Canadian author Finnian Burnett. Redshirts sometimes survive. The book is not yet out, but it's going to be published soon. I still can't find a publication date, an actual publication date on the publisher's website.
Oh, I
I
thought
think,
I saw it somewhere. I thought it was April 4th that it was
thank
coming
you.
out. I thought
I know you found it, and
somewhere
I was
or
like,
6th or something. Yeah.
Rebecca found it. I must, and I looked again. I'm like, I still can't find it. I'm obviously not. You're the librarian. I'm much better at research, but
But that makes me think that my date might be wrong because the publisher should certainly have
yeah,
it,
like
right?
it's still. I went on to so the top publisher is Off Topic Publishing, and I went onto their website again today, and it just says it's still in pre-order. So I don't think it's quite out yet.
Okay.
I did have the pleasure of speaking to Finnian recently, so that interview is going to be up within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I love Finian's writing. Like I'm sorry, whatever they write, I'm going to read. So red shirts sometimes survive. If you clue into the red shirts, it's what's the word? An allusion to Star Trek, because the book is all about Star Trek, queer identity, queer love, and found family. And it is just a beautiful, fun book. It's tender, it's a little funny. You do not need to be a Star Trek fan in order to appreciate the stories. But if you do enjoy Star Trek or are familiar with any of the Star Trek world, I think it will only enhance it. But it's just I love this book.
And I just want to tell everybody, especially if you're a Star Trek fan, you absolutely have to listen to the interview. I did the editing, it's ready to go. It'll go up, like Tara said, in a few weeks, but it was really a wonderful interview. So I highly recommend it when it comes out in a few weeks or whatever, and then we'll figure out that date. As soon as we know the date, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, I really had fun talking to Finian, so I'm looking forward to talking to them again for their next book. Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm now talking a lot, but I've got so many books that I want to tell you all about.
We want to hear them all.
Okay,
Yep.
so now I'm going to move into poetry. So I just finished this, and we have, I think April is National Poetry Month. So
Mhm.
I'll throw this out to you if this book sounds interesting to you and you want to read a book of poetry in April. And it is The Tinder Sonnets by Jennifer Lovegrove. So this book came at me by way of Holly Gaudry of River Street Writes. So it's a recommendation from River Street Writes. Okay, it's a collection of poetry. Each poem has the same structure, which I actually found super interesting. So it's
Hmm.
3 stanzas, like 3 separate stanzas. And on each page is one stanza. So 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to move on to the next poem. So I found that really interesting structure wise.
Yeah.
Uh, Gave this like weird uniform, not weird. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. It gave this unexpected
Unique.
unique
Yeah.
and unexpected uniformity to the collection, which I don't know. I really like that part of it. The poems themselves. So you take, I don't know much about poetry, so I got this from elsewhere. So it takes the conservative nature of the sonnet, which makes sense then why all the structure is the same for all of the poems. So you got the conservative nature of the sonnet, and then it meets the brutally honest words of the poet. And what is she exploring? She is reflecting on the poet's experiences as a middle-aged woman searching for love, with her sexual desires and insecurities just out there, but amidst the ingrained misogyny of our everyday lives.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
So,
fascinating.
yeah, it's a lot. And I really, when I was reading this, so I recently spoke to Halle and we chatted a little bit about poetry. And I was like, don't worry what everything means. Just how does this make you feel? Right.
Yep.
So I'm like, it's a little sexy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, it's a little sexy. And then you're going to get a little angry because that misogyny that's in there. I like the just sometimes, as again, it's poetry, just these little phrases, one or two words, and you're like, bam, that those one or two words say a lot.
Yeah.
I've gone on Instagram. You can find, I think it was on River Street's Instagram page, River Street Writes. You can find little videos of Jennifer Lovegrove reading a poem or two. And I really enjoyed hearing her read them because then you get where the breaks are supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy poetry collection, but I would read them one or two poems at a time, and I enjoyed them, I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds really fascinating.
Mhm.
And I have to say that interview with Halle where she said that, that is how because I've not felt that poetry is necessarily accessible to me. And as soon as Halle said that, I was like, there you go. Because
Yeah,
that's that's what I do with artwork. They always tell you,
yeah,
how does it make you feel? What do you see? How does it make you feel?
yeah,
And now that's how I'm going to approach poetry. So I'm going to be getting into it more
yeah,
because I feel like she just opened a door that was closed to me before.
yeah. That's a great metaphor. It's totally true. Okay, I have another book of fiction. Again, another book that came to me from River Street Writes, and it is Shoebox by Sean Paul Bedell. Okay, this is also was another interesting reading experience for me. So, did I enjoy the book? Yeah, you know what? Again, it's more that I appreciated the experience. So, work of fiction, the author himself was a long-term serving paramedic and firefighter in his community in Nova Scotia. And the book is about a paramedic and his experience as a paramedic from the job, but also the effect that it had on his family life, but also the trauma that he had endured as a childhood and also then from the job itself,
Mm,
which seems a lot. So I learned a lot about I felt like I'm like, I know what a paramedic does, but I don't really know what a paramedic does. So I learned a lot about the job itself.
yeah.
The writing I found interesting in that there were moments that I was like, I feel like something's left out. Like it was very at times very like this happened and this, and then we did this, and then we jumped in the thing and I was moving here. Like it was very bop, bop, bop.
Hmm.
And then I would feel like things were skipped over or something was there were gaps. And as a reader, I was kind of like, did I miss something? I feel like but as I continued through the book, I felt like that writing style kind of reflected what the main character was going through in trying to deal with his trauma, because he did have childhood trauma, family trauma, trauma
Oh.
from the job itself. So it's him not wanting to address some stuff, so he would just skip over it. So therefore, it
Hmm.
was left out of the story. And then,
Hmm.
of course, that builds up to a point where something very traumatic does happen to him that he is forced to address this.
Yeah.
So I found that very when I realized connected that dots, the story became more palatable to me.
Hmm.
The ending, which I won't give away, but I found it to be a little over the top in order to bring things together for the character. So the ending was a little over the top, but I enjoyed the journey getting there. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Without spoilers.
Somehow I missed the beginning of it in terms of it's fiction, right?
Yes, fiction.
Okay, okay, got it.
But
All right.
almost you would, if you didn't know it was fiction, it reads like a nonfiction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I okay. All right, good.
an interesting one. Again, I'm glad I read it. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm not, it wasn't, it's dense. It
Mhm.
wasn't a fly through one, but I'm like, I got to find out what happens to this man. It was also interesting because you were only getting that character's point of view, where
Mhm.
he obviously, he's not an island. He's surrounded by his coworkers, by his family, like he was married with small children, and you didn't get the wife's point of view. You just got that she was angry with him. And I'm like, there's got to be more than she's just
Yeah.
angry with you, you know?
Yeah.
And they themselves as a couple had trauma happen, like something very dramatic happened to them at the beginning of the story that they didn't really deal with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it sounds like you might be interested, I would go for it. Give it a shot. Yeah. Okay. Now I got another fiction book for you. Sorry, I have two books. I'm going to make it super fast.
Don't worry about it. Go for it.
This
Yeah.
is the new book by Sharon Bala, so the writer of The Boat People, and it is called Good Guys. So, similar to Shoebox in that it's about a very serious subject, but a completely different writing style. Good Guys is about essentially who are the good guys, who are the bad guys when we are talking about a not for profit charity that goes to third world countries to do good. So I can't remember the name of the charity, but it is about the people, the man who is an aging, he's middle-aged. He was a very famous rock musician, and this is what he started doing after his musician career. He started this not for profit charity where they go to third world countries, bringing medical care, housing, maybe schools, trying to build like a whole community, offering more to the people that are there. And in the present day, they are not, the charity is not doing well. They are almost bankrupt. And they have hired a publicist to help them make money, to see what they can do to increase their profile. She connects with an up and coming young actress who decides that she would like to become involved because, in addition to sending skilled people to these places, the charity also is like volunteer tourism, will send people who want to volunteer and help out. They're not skilled people whatsoever.
No.
So this actress wants to go, and of course they're excited because she will Instagram everything and show what's happening, and that's exactly what happens, and the donations pour in, their profile increases. But something, the whole time I'm reading this, I'm like, the shit's got to hit the fan. The shit is going to hit the fan, and you're just waiting for it. So I'm not going to spoil anything because the shit does hit the fan. What happens? So again, see, like a very serious topic. It was all stuff that I knew. You're going to get angry at reading some of the stuff, but the way that Sharon Bala has written it, it is so propulsive. You're just like, I have to find out what happens. You're just flipping the pages. Each chapter is a new POV, so a different character, which I love.
I love that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love getting a different character in each chapter. And you see the growth of the characters as they move through the story. So I love that as well. And then the ending's probably going to leave you a little bit angry, not because it's not a good one, but because it is a really good ending. I loved this book. Like, kudos, Sharon Bala. This is a great book.
Yeah, I wanna read that one.
Yeah,
That sounds really, really good.
yeah, it's very good. Okay, my last book is a collection of short stories and a novella. So it has one novella, three short stories, and it
Mm.
is Stag Dance by Tori Peters. So this is one that I've been wanting to read. I think it came out last year. So for the last little while, uh, Tori Peters' first book was Detransition Baby, came out a couple of years ago. I haven't yet read that, but I've been wanting to. I grabbed this one first because I love short stories. She is okay, the short stories and the novella, she's does a couple different genres. You're going to get like there's a little Western / tall tale, a little horror, a little coming of age story, and they all address gender issues. And I don't know how best to describe it without giving it away. Like the trans experience, but not like, I don't want to say like a general trans experience, but you're just little moments of the trans experience, maybe pre-transition, post-transition. It's a beautiful book. She is a fantastic writer.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, the novella is the name of the book, Stag Dance, and it is about a character. His name is Babe Bunyan. Actually, it's his nickname because he does not like this nickname, but it is set in the logging camps, so not present day, in the logging camps where everyone has a nickname. And there's a group of loggers and they are doing some illegal logging during the winter. And you are transported to being in those woods with those group of men that are just smelly and brutal. And they are getting almost like a cabin fever of being stuck there. So the guy in charge decides that they should have what's called a stag dance, where they were going to have a celebration, and whoever wants to like be a woman by attaching a little triangular fur piece to their crotch, they can be a woman at the stag dance, just to help alleviate some of the tensions that are going on. And Babe Bunyan wants to be one of the women at this dance. And then the repercussions of how that changes relationships in the logging camp. But also you see Babe. Oh, Babe's beautiful. You're going to fall in love with Babe and his big old heart. It's difficult to describe because each story is so different. And Peter's writing is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know this author, so this was new to me. But
yeah. American. She's American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I really the stories are going to stay with me. There's another one that's about two young boys at a private school, so in their teens, and their relationship, and it's like a coming of age. It's so good, and it's all it's gender identity, queerness. It's so good. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book.
Wow.
Yep. And I am done.
Okay.
Thank you all for putting up with it.
Yeah, and I'll try to read some better stuff this upcoming month. So
I will try to read not as good stuff. Maybe we'll balance it next time, because I'm so sorry. I knew I was bringing too many books, but I just didn't want to leave them out,
Yeah.
And there were a couple that I could have left out because I'm not going to, but I didn't want to bring just books that I was going to like.
Yeah.
Be like, I just loved it and that's it.
Yeah, but you always tell me bring books. Sometimes I'll say like, I don't know if I should bring it. And you'll say, bring it. So you should always just bring what you want to bring. Everybody loves to hear it. And, and you're just adding to everybody's TBR, because I will say I've highlighted a number of these already. So I'll get to them. But yeah.
I have other ones I could have brought too, but I'm like, no, Tara, stop it.
Well, we'll have I think next week we're going to do a reading from our shelves.
Yes.
So maybe you could bring some of those to that one as well.
That's true. I may. And actually I will definitely bring Stag Dance because it has a beautiful cover.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I think we're done. Thank you for listening and happy reading.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style, and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.